Hey, morning guys. Welcome to week 4, day 1 of the Guildford City Fitness live stream. Today, day 1, it's the second day of the week, but it's day 2 of the program that you got sent yesterday. And we're going to get straight into it, basically. I hope you all had a really good Easter. Thanks to everyone who took part in the Easter egg competition. There's some really amazing interest, to be fair. I wasn't expecting half of what I did see. So well done to everyone and well done to B who won in the end. And the only thing, I'm going to talk through the sessions as we go. We've changed the format ever so slightly. So you're still doing the same number of exercises, but we've deliberately broken them up into a way that concentrates on the outcome that we're looking for. So if you look at Tuesday, on today's sessions, we've got 4 exercises that are focused on movement skills. So bits of core work that have a bit of coordination tied to them. And then the second half of it is going to be focused on upper body strength. So you've got a pushing and then a pulling exercise. So by the time you finish the session, it's still about the same amount of work, but you've hit the same muscles in a more concentrated way, so you try and get a bit more. So it seems a bit more organised. So the warm-ups, I've written 3 of them, so if you are doing this alone, it means you've got 3 different warm-ups you can cycle through, or you can just repeat the one that you like doing, but again, it just gives you a bit more variety and control over what you're going to do today. So first one, we're going to do warm-up 1 on the video today. For anyone that did do it yesterday, we just kept the session the same so it was easier to follow. So we're going to start with dorsal pressing to sit back after I sit up. So similar thing, 6 reps on each side, with 6 reps of whichever exercise is on there. So dorsal press into sit back. Again, I hope everyone made the most of the 4 days of learnt me on the stream. And let us know what you got up to. Whether you managed to have a normal Easter or whether you did something different. After this, we're going into thread the needle. So 6 on each side, elbow to knee, and then just try and reach up as far as you can without reaching over to the side. Again, main thing with this as well is that you keep your hips set back onto your feet so that you're locking down. You're making sure your lower back doesn't move. All that movement comes from the upper body. So even if you sit your hips up, you find you can get a lot more range. So you're deliberately trying to constrain how much you are able to move so that you know it's the right body parts working. Then you've got walkouts. So there's 6 reps of normal walkouts, touch your toes and stay down towards the ground for the whole thing. So I'm going to stay in this position for the whole 6 reps. And hopefully by the end of it, it'll feel a bit easier to stay there. Make sure that as you do, you keep your knees completely straight. Okay, and last one. Don't worry so much about having a bent back in this position, because it's still going to help to warm up your lower back, increase that mobility as well. Then you've got leg swings. So we've been doing them every day, but now we're going to alternate with them. So today, as normal, 6 reps each side. And both directions too. Again, to make sure that all the movement comes from your hamstrings, so you have no rounding at your lower back. And then IYTW, and kneel down just to make it easier to fit to the camera. So core tight, If you go up off your hips, keep your glutes engaged as well. You'll feel a lot more, because you're trying to find that mobility with a stable core. You probably find that a lot harder to reach those positions as well. And just go 3 in each position. Okay, and then scat press to finish. Yep, scat press and then jogging at the end. It doesn't matter so much as long as you feel most of the work coming from between your shoulder blades, but ideally you want to be off your knees. So you've got to control your body weight going down as well. So you're doing some good eccentric work as well. Just weight you up a little bit more. Okay. And jogging for a minute. 3, 2, 1, go. And may as well say skipping medley, to be fair, because again the entire point of this is just to get your heart rate up before we start the main session. And if you've been doing jogging and running anyway, you might not feel that you need to do this as much. I'm halfway there. And then fit in a little bit of sprinting to finish. So finish on a 5-second high knee sprint in 2, 1, go. Leave it there. Grab a drink. So all you're going to need for this session, nothing for this part, just your body weight. Then part 2, you're going to need a weighted bag to do your bent over rows and your pullovers. So I'm going to demonstrate part 1 now, get into that, and then I'll cover part 2 during the rest between the 2 rounds. So we're going to go 45 seconds on and 15 seconds off, run through each part. So we'll go through once, take a minute break, and then go back to the start, do that 3 times. And then you get a minute and a half off before we go into part 2. So you've got Superman's. So you can either go plank, so on one hand, one knee, hold the position, keep your hips level and not well on your lower back. And then we'll switch halfway. If you want, you can go up into press up plank position and try and hold the same position like that. And we'll still do the switch. Just make sure that if you do try that, you're against a stable surface so that your socks don't slip on the floor. Makes it a bit more manageable. Ugh. I'm just going to stick with the knees, to be fair. And as with every other session, make sure that your area is nice and clear, you've got a drink to hand, and that you've managed any injuries and you're aware of what you can't do today, so that you get through the whole session in one piece. So that's Superman. Rotation plank. So hand shoulder width, feet as wide as you have to. Pull your stomach to one side and make sure that your hips move before your hands. Then finish off part 1 with divers. So on one leg, you're going to hinge down like a single leg RDL, reach overhead. At the bottom, just you trying to coordinate your hips and your whole body moving whilst reaching overhead to try and improve your upper back mobility. So we're going to start on the top of the minute. We go 45 seconds through, 15 off. 2, 1, go. So I should have written it as Superman plank. So rather than, if you want to, you can alternate to reach. But I'm going to be going through this version where you do 20 on one side, hold it, and then swap over. Just because I think it makes it a bit more challenging, it's a bit more relevant, trying to hold your core position while your arms and legs are doing something else. And start to think about whether it feels different on one side to the other. 2, 1, relax. So you're 15 seconds off because you're working that little bit longer in each part of the session as well. Into rotation plank. 3, 2, 1, go. Make sure your hips reach through all the way, equally on both sides. You've got 15 seconds left on this exercise. Okay. 5 seconds. 2, 1, relax. Then you're into divers, you get 45 seconds per leg. So you do 45 on this, then we'll rest and switch over. In 3, 2, 1, go. So if you're trying to figure it out still, stick with a single leg RDL. So hinge forward, make sure you maintain your balance in your spine position so you're not rounding. Then for divers, start with your hands up wide. As you go down, start to reach overhead. So they're not independent, they happen at the same time. Hinge, reach overhead. Try and hold for a few seconds. 10 seconds left. As you start to build confidence with the movement, relax. Start to just build the pace on it as well. So the more control you have over it, the more benefit you're going to get from it. 3, 2, 1, go. Again, if you do find it a little bit easier to get into position and then try and reach overhead, so down to the bottom, get stable, and then start moving some more of your weight away from me and hold it. That's one way to help you start to learn the movement. Like we said before, if you do start to wobble and lose balance a little bit, it's important, relax, that you try and fight it rather than going from standing, start to fall over and just quit. Because the more time you spend trying to learn those patterns and hold those positions, the more benefit you will find from it. So a little break, then we'll go back into round 2 of part 1. So again, we're going back into Superman. In 3, 2, 1, go. So with a hold, opposite hand and foot with knee off the ground, or you can try and go up. Quite a lot harder. So even if you only get half of the round, and then try and hold that again, you're still going to get a lot more benefit and it'll help you get towards that new goal. Relax. Okay, then you're on to part 2. Switch sides. So it just means you're spending even amount of time on both. For this level of exercise, alternating this isn't quite enough of a stimulus for you to gain any benefit from it anymore. A little bit longer, relax. The 15 seconds off and we're back into rotation plank. 2, 1, go. As with everything on what that has two sides, try and finish on an even number. So no matter how many reps I do, I'm going to finish facing this way. For me personally, I find it a lot easier to rotate all the way around to this direction. So I'm going to spend a bit more time and effort just forcing my hips through and then holding. A little bit longer. 2, 1, relax. Then into divers again. So again, 15 seconds off. So starting left leg in 3, 2, 1, go. So concentrate audio, find range, straight leg, straight back. And then from there, to make it a diver, you reach overhead as you hinge down. Again, back leg, doesn't matter what it does as long as you're balanced. So preferably straight, but if you find it easier to bend your back leg up to the ceiling, then do so. And 10 seconds left. Oh, fight. Relax. Other side. Couple of seconds off. Again, if you're finding you feel more work being done by your ankle, give it time to adapt. 2, 1, go. Just break it back a little bit if you think you need to. So if your knee starts to wobble a bit, go for a normal RDL, finish the rep that way, and then try and progress it again. Even arabesque, you've got your hands moving away, out to the sides. It's a little bit more challenging. 10 seconds left. And to streamline. Oh, try to fall, relax. So that's round 2 of part 1. So you've got one more round of this, then you get a minute and a half off. So we've deliberately tried to make, so you've got 2 parts to each session, but we're deliberately trying to make one part of it a bit less grueling than the other one. So if you've had a look already at the rest of the sheet, and you find that we've got a lower body set, you've got a wall sit into split squat into then jumping, we've very deliberately taken half the session to just really hammer your lower body and try and work on its capacity. So rather than trying to have one upper, one lower, one core, one of every piece per session, it means you're really going to start to feel the difference in the way you recover. So be ready for that and be mindful of it when you're trying to program your recovery. Really make sure you're committing to the cool downs, make sure you're committing to the stretching after you've done your runs, make sure you're focusing on your skill work and those squeezy bits that we've looked at, and especially the foam rolling. So a little bit longer rest. We'll go into round 3. So make sure you've had your drinks, and then we'll get going. So 10 more seconds. Round 3 of part 1. And we'll move on to part 2 and I'll talk through it and the rest. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going to get half of it down here and then try and do 10 seconds the other way. As long as you're holding a streamline. It's a flat wall behind me. Relax. Switch sides. So again, I'm going to switch, do half of it this way, and making sure that your wrist goes over the crown of your head into streamline, facing the floor. Oh no, doesn't feel good. Oh, relax. So I'm definitely going to try and walk on that side. The other one's much more comfortable. So you've got rotation plank, 2, 1, go. And the biggest mistake you can make here is changing your hand position. So when you look at the ground, make sure your hands are in the exact same place every time. Because if they're not, that'll start to upset the way that you set up the rest of the rep. So I put my hand up there. Feels easier, but my hand's too far away from my shoulders. Okay, just under 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, relax. Back into divers. 3, 2, 1, go. So another big part of this challenge comes from the fact you've just done rotation plank, which takes a lot of upper body stability. You're then trying to transfer that into reaching out with steady hands. Again, these are quite easy to cheat. Especially cheat yourself really, because you'll hinge forward thinking you've done a really good job of reaching far, but your body's not organised. So get other people's feedback, use mirrors. If you've got something shiny, make sure that bit's flawless. Make sure you stay stable. Reach overhead, and then recover. So relax there, little break. Right leg for divers. Then we'll move on to part 2 after a bit of a rest. 3, 2, 1, go. All this sort of core and hip stability work is going to do wonders for your hamstring mobility. It's going to give you body and brain confidence in the length your hamstring can get to in this hinge position, which ultimately is what you've got want when you're on the blocks. I need that straight leg, lead leg. Ugh. And at the same time during running, think about when you hit the ground during a run, good posture, stiff leg. So it'll be in a much better position to absorb that impact force without doing you a disservice. Relax. So you get a minute and a half rest now before we move on to part 2. Again, for part 2, make sure you've got a heavy bag to go through. For the pulling bits, we've got 45 seconds of press ups, 45 seconds of bent over row. So again, you split stance. If you're unsure about your hinge position, so slight bend in the knees, hips back behind you. Make sure your shoulders are over the top of your toes. The reason I say that is because a lot of people will bend forward, but if you bend your knees a lot, it's a lot more like a squat, and you won't feel it at the back of your hamstrings. So low as you can with a straight back, hold that position, and then pull up. Make sure you're squeezing a lot at the top. And then you've got a dips, should I leave my chair down, or a couch, whatever you've got. There, and take your tea table. Still half asleep in Easter mode. So yeah, and you rest, you then got so you push-ups, bent over row, into dips, which as we said before, stable surface to push into. Start with your knees bent if you must. Just focus on that upright body posture. Make sure your shoulders only go as low as your elbows. Because if you go into this, if there's a lot more strain on your connective tissue, you're not actually going to be able to apply force effectively. So you're better holding that, getting to that position and holding it to make it harder instead of just pushing from mental range. And then up before we finish off on pullovers. The pullover is basically an upper body dead bug. So you set up for dead bug with your backpack from bent over row, feet off the ground. You're going to reach overhead with straight arms, hold that position, and pull back up. Basically pulling your elbows back towards your knees, trying to engage your lats as you do it. To make sure that your lower back is pressed into the ground the whole time. Make sure you've had a drink one more time before we go into the start of part 2. So starting off with press ups for 45 seconds. So 3, 2, 1, go. So normal width. So we're halfway done with these push-ups. As always, core position is far more important. So if you have to drop onto knees, do so. Much better to use the belt technique though. So 5 seconds. 2, 1, stop. 15 off, grab your backpack or your suitcase, whatever you've got ready. If you've got weights, be using them. As long as you've got a good safe grip on it. In 3, 2, 1, go. So find your hinge position. Slow down, hold for a second. Massive squeeze. So as you're trying to pull the bag through you and down slowly. And controlled. This squeezing bit in particular is where you're going to get the most amount of work done on this, no matter how heavy it is. Two, 1, relax. Then you're on to dips. 5 seconds off. 2, 1, go. And personally, with this, I find it easier to have my hands over the side of the table so knuckles are facing the camera. Because it just means you're not turning your elbows in, internally rotating. It means you get a much more even spread of what's working between your triceps and your shoulders. So I can just concentrate on my triceps here. As long as your back stays straight, then focus on straightening your legs. Hold for a second. Then relax. Into pullovers. Then make sure you've got those straps. Make sure they're all tied up so that they hit you in the face. 2, 1, go. So down slow, control that weight over your head. Hold here for a few seconds and pull up. So the hardest part of this is going to be somewhere from here down to the ground. That's where you're going to want to spend most of the time. If you bring your hands close together, it makes it a bit more challenging as well.
Again, just making sure the whole time you're holding your lower back into the ground, keep your core squeezed. 2, 1, relax. So again, a bit of a gap. Before we go back into round 2 of part 2. Just want to cushion my wrists a little bit more. Again, if you've got mats or something to protect you from the carpet, you should be using that during every session. I learned that the hard way from trying to do side planks last week. And like we said, there's always ways to work around it. So if you find that there's an exercise you're doing that's aggravating a joint in a way that it shouldn't be, find another way around it. So if that means doing push-ups on your knees the whole time and going very slow down, that's something you have to do. We're going to go back into push-ups in a second. So push-ups in 3, 2, 1, go. Onto your knees if you have to. Ideal tempo for this is 1 second up and 1 second down. So you've got 10 seconds left. So, which of those of you that have looked ahead will know, relax there, that Thursday's challenge is now as many as you can do in one go on a tempo. I'll cover that in more detail, but that's the pace you want to be hitting. 1 down, 1 up, no rest in between. Okay, into bent over row. In 3, 2, 1, go. Again, the harder you squeeze at this top position, the more you're going to gain from doing this bent over row. Especially if you're used to heavier weights anyway. You haven't got that many to put in the bag. This is just wasted time unless you've got a lot of weight and you have to get it going. Really slow and controlled. Relax. Into dips next. Okay, dips in 3, 2, 1, go. So even then, make sure you get a really big squeeze to this top position there. It's almost like you're trying to lift your whole body off the ground. Really straighten them, concentrate on squeezing between your elbow and your shoulder on the back of your arm. Because it's less reps, but you've got more of a signal going to your muscles. So they're more likely to respond and grow or adapt. And then relax into pullovers. Three, 2, 1, let's go. And slowly go from top down to the bottom and then hold it, the more you'll gain. Hold it there. Pull back slow, squeeze your lats as hard as you can. If you start to feel any sort of irritation around your shoulder blade, try to put your hands a bit wider. So for your hands facing each other, out to there. Just make sure that the weight doesn't hit the floor. Pull back. Last 5 seconds. 2, 1, relax. So final bit of rest. Again, just to reiterate, having that bit of a break in the middle, so you've got 2 sets, two parts of 4 exercises. For some of it might not seem as grueling by the end of it, but because you're doing similar exercises much closer together, you'll get more, it'll be more fatiguing. So the fact you've got push-ups and then 45 seconds like you're back into dips, 3 times round is going to feel like you're working harder in those specific areas. So that's why we've done it. So make sure you've had a drink before we start round 3. So push-ups, round 3. 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, no breaks in between. You have to switch to knees. Just go from one rep straight to the next. We've got 20 seconds left. 10 seconds. 2, 1, relax. Back of a row. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Again, a substitution for this, if you haven't got a bag, it'll be inverted row. So you're using the same coffee table you would for dips. Underneath, hands are on the inside. So these are programmed in on a different day as well, but we're giving you a bit of variety. So the one day is more push focus and one's more pull. So this is a bit more challenging to do with push-ups. 10 seconds left. Two, 1, relax. 15-second break to get to dips. 3, 2, 1, go. We'll go for quality instead of quantity. So go down as slow as you can. Pause. If you can get close to 10 seconds, move your feet further away. Hold for 1 or 2. Push up. A bit further away again. Make sure your back stays straight. Last 5 seconds. And finish off, legs close. Couple of reps to finish. We're going to stop. Last exercise. Pull levers again. 3, 2, 1, go. So you could do this with your feet on the ground, but the point is, because they're up, having the weight over your head is going to increase the demand on your lower core. So trying to hold your pelvis steady while you've got weight over your head. So again, a bit of scap stability, like we practiced in part 1, combining that with some upper body pulling strength, by having to get your lats to pull the weight back without losing your body position. 3, 2, 1, relax. Finish off there. So still going to go through the normal cool down, because as we said, it's always about routine. So if you've done other work, I had some questions over the Easter break around subjects like why a session that someone's just done feels a lot harder than the same session the week before, and things like eating at different time, going for a jog with your family at some point that you didn't do the last time is going to have an impact even if it's 2 days apart. Because you might feel fine and you haven't got any muscle soreness, but your muscle glycogen might be a bit lower than normal, so the fuel isn't there. It's going to make things feel a bit harder. So just because we didn't necessarily do much lower body stuff today, there's still going to be a reason for your body to have to recover from something that you did. And if you watched Ellen's talk yesterday on building routines, which I hope all of you did, and if you hadn't, you can go into the club YouTube and watch it there. Building routines is the cornerstone of any good program. Relax. So all the work that we do, the more of a routine you build, the more things become second nature, and then the easier it becomes to answer questions. So hamstring stretch, single leg. A lot of the discussions most coaches have with most athletes is going to be around answering questions they have. So if you feel a little bit less motivated than normal, if you feel a bit more sore than normal, if you feel fine but you're not hitting the times you're used to hitting, the more routines you have in your day-to-day, the easier it is to answer those questions. Relax and switch. You know, I've had some corkers in my coaching career, like beyond Guildford, where someone will say, well, they'll forget. And I had one person who had a VO2 test, so they were coming in to do a maximal on a treadmill, getting blood taken test, but they went for a 20k run with their friend the day before because the sports coach told them they should go for a run. So funnily enough, it had an impact on the test. That'd be like you going for a massive, you wouldn't do a T30 test the day before a final, like a big national final. Relax, hip stretch. So again, key aim here is to try and make sure that you only feel in that very top compartment of your hip, so from the bone to just below it, probably like 3 or 4 fingers worth. If you feel it in your quad a lot, lean forward some more. So full body lean, head to heel straight line. If you do that, you will feel more stretch, but it's passive, not active. So here, again, because you're squeezing muscles, it's like you're actively trying to lift your knee behind you like you would during a kick. Switch sides. So again, any questions or comments people have about the new program, let us know in the comments, or just send us an email. Again, Monday, every day will be this format. We just left it the same for yesterday. For anyone that wants to do the program without being confused about how they're supposed to run it, I have written instructions on every sheet. Relax. Okay, into lats. And the same goes for the fitness challenges. So I'm going to go through today's challenge in just a second. So make sure again with lats, you're either shifting your hips as you push your head through the gap. So here, head through, hips away, and switch. And again, if you feel like something is off when you push too far, if you round your back a little bit, so your spine goes up, sort of like an angry cat, you're still increasing that distance between one end of your lat and the other one. So here, straight back, try an angry cat, your upper back, just means you'll get more of a stretch at this end specifically. Then finish with chest. 2, 1. So right hand on the wall, left foot forward. And try to lean down. So long as your elbow's over the top of your chest. You're trying to stretch it behind. And you're leaning, so again your muscles pulling in a diagonal from your chest up to your right side. It goes diagonally from chest up that way. So if you stretch and lean in that direction, you'll get more of a stretch without having to just pull yourself lazily through this. If you switch sides, use the table to make it easier to see. So it's a big difference between having your elbow out straight to the side compared to having it over your head in the same position, purely because of that angle that your chest works from best. And relax. So now you go through and take care of any things that you think you need to on top of that. So you've checked your whole body. And today's challenge, I've got to do a bit of explaining around this, is as many rounds as possible. So this is similar to some of the other ones we did. I'll cover yesterday's one because I wasn't here. So basically with responsibility, you've got a time trial based on a distance that is, on a distance that's based on your main competition event. So if you're a distance swimmer, you go for a 10k. If you're an MPS, I think it's 8k for nays, 5 for middle, or 4 for nays. And then sprint, so all the sprinters, you're just doing a 100 meter 5 times through. This was Monday, just to be clear. I'm covering Monday's one now, and I'm going to do Tuesday in a second. So you do 5 100 meter sprints with as much rest as you need in the middle for this week, and then I'm going to be more strict on it going forward. Just means that because you're sprinters, I want you running as fast as you can. So that's the aim of this week, which is for sprint guys to measure out a distance and pelt it as hard and as fast as you could without worrying about having to do a few kilometers afterwards. You then write down every time you got on that 100, send them all through to your coach or through to me, through email, or just hold it for yourself, and then we'll just try and see whether your sprint speed improves or whether your average improves across the 5. Now today's one, Tuesday's adaptability challenge, is similar to the last couple of weeks. You set the timer at 15 minutes, you hit start, and then you go through 14 split squats on each leg, 14 streamlined sit-ups, and then 14 squat jumps. So again, split squats on each leg, 14 on one, 14 on the other. Streamlined sit-ups, so hands over your head. And it's a sit-up, not a crunch. So you go all the way from here up to there, pulling through your core. Straight back position, and then 14 squat jumps. You only record complete rounds, and then tomorrow again you've got something different, which I'll explain then. Like I said, if you haven't had a chance, go back to Alan's video around routine building, have a look at that. It's very concise, but again, some very useful practical information for you to take on board. I'm going to leave that for me today. Again, happy Easter to everyone who I haven't said it to so far. Good morning again from me and from everyone else at Guildford City. Thanks for watching.